Walk into any American supermarket and you'll find the same tropical fruits: bananas, pineapples, maybe some mangoes if you're lucky. But ask for a rambutan, a mangosteen, or a fresh passion fruit. Good luck. The United States is one of the wealthiest nations on Earth, with supply chains that can deliver Maine lobsters to Los Angeles in 24 hours. Yet somehow, a ripe jackfruit from Thailand or a soursop from Colombia remains nearly impossible to find fresh in most American cities. This isn't an accident. It's the result of a complex system involving federal regulations, economic realities, and agricultural policies that have created an invisible barrier between American consumers and the incredible diversity of tropical fruit growing around the world. The harvest reality. To understand why fresh tropical fruit is so rare in America, you need to start where it begins, in the fields and orchards of countries near the equator. In a small village in southern Thailand, a family has been growing rambutans for 3 generations. The trees tower 20 feet high, their branches heavy with bright red, hairy fruits. Harvesting happens entirely by hand. Workers climb ladders, carefully selecting fruits at peak ripeness. A single rambutan bruises easily. Drop it from even 3 feet, and it becomes unsellable within hours. This same scene repeats across tropical regions. In the Philippines, mangosteen farmers wait 7 to 10 years for their trees to bear fruit. When harvest time comes, each purple fruit must be hand-picked at exactly the right moment. Too early, and it's sour. Too late, and the flesh begins fermenting inside the thick rind. In Colombia, passion fruit grows on vines that snake across hillside terraces. Small family farms dominate production. A typical farm might be 5 acres, maybe 10. The farmer, his wife, and their children wake before dawn to harvest. The fruits fall naturally when ripe, but they can't sit on the ground for more than a few hours in the tropical heat. This is the first challenge. Tropical fruits are incredibly labor-intensive and time-sensitive. Unlike apples that can hang on trees for weeks, or potatoes that can sit in the ground until convenient, tropical fruits operate on nature's strict timeline. The industrial contrast. Now contrast this with how America's most common tropical import, the banana, reaches your grocery store. Banana production is industrial warfare against nature. In Ecuador and Guatemala, massive plantations owned by multinational corporations like Dole and Chiquita stretch for thousands of acres. These aren't farms, they're outdoor factories. The bananas grow in perfect rows, each bunch wrapped in blue plastic bags treated with insecticide. Workers harvest using a cable system that transports the bananas directly from the field to the packing facility without the fruit ever touching the ground. The entire operation is timed to military precision. Here's the key. Bananas are picked completely green and hard. They're shipped unripe, stored in climate-controlled containers at exactly 56 degrees Fahrenheit, and then artificially ripened with ethylene gas when they reach their destination. This process allows bananas to survive a 2 to 3 week journey from harvest to American supermarket. Pineapples follow a similar industrial model. In Costa Rica, massive Del Monte plantations use GPS-guided tractors and conveyor systems. The fruits are picked slightly underripe, treated with fungicides, and can tolerate the shipping process. But most tropical fruits, they can't do this. A ripe mangosteen starts deteriorating within 3 days of harvest. A rambutan begins fermenting within a week. Fresh lychees oxidize and turn brown within 48 hours, unless kept in near-perfect conditions. These fruits evolved in environments where they dropped from trees to be eaten immediately by animals or humans. They never developed the ability to wait. The gauntlet of regulations. Let's say a Thai farmer wants to export fresh rambutans to America. First, they face Thailand's own export regulations, certification, inspections, approved packing facilities. But that's just the beginning. The United States Department of Agriculture operates one of the strictest agricultural import systems in the world, and for legitimate reasons. In 1989, the Mediterranean fruit fly devastated California's citrus industry, causing over $100 million in damage. The USDA's job is to ensure that never happens again. Every tropical fruit entering the United States must pass through a multi-layered inspection process. The fruit must come from USDA-approved facilities in approved regions. It must be inspected in the country of origin by USDA-trained inspectors. Then it's inspected again upon arrival at U.S. ports. But here's where it gets complicated. Different fruits face different levels of scrutiny based on pest risk assessments. Mangoes from Mexico undergo mandatory hot water treatment. The fruits are submerged in 115-degree water for up to 90 minutes to kill any fruit fly larvae. This process costs money and can affect fruit quality, but it's non-negotiable. Fresh longan from Thailand? Completely banned until 2007. Even now, it can only enter from specific approved orchards that undergo year-round USDA monitoring. The cost of this monitoring program gets passed to exporters, making each longan significantly more expensive before it even leaves Thailand. Dragon fruit faces fumigation requirements. Passion fruit requires vapor heat treatment in many cases. The list goes on. Some fruits are banned entirely from certain countries. Brazil produces some of the world's best jabuticaba, but fresh jabuticaba cannot legally enter the United States due to pest concerns. The same applies to several varieties of sapote from Central America. The economic mathematics. Now let's talk about money, because this is where the dream of fresh tropical fruit diversity in America truly dies. A family farmer in the Philippines sells fresh mangosteen for approximately 30 to 50 cents per pound at the local market. To export that same fruit to America, the costs begin multiplying. First, the fruit must be transported from the rural farm to an export-approved facility, often requiring several hours over poor roads in refrigerated trucks. Cost, adding 20 to 30 cents per pound. The export facility charges processing and certification fees. Cost, another 15 to 20 cents per pound. The fruit must be packed in approved containers with adequate cushioning and climate control. Cost, 10 to 15 cents per pound. Then comes shipping. Air freight, the only viable option for highly perishable tropical fruits, costs between $2 and $4 per pound from Southeast Asia to the United States. Ocean freight is cheaper but takes 2 to 3 weeks, which most tropical fruits cannot survive. Import duties and fees at U.S. Customs, another 10 to 15%. Transportation from the port to distribution centers, 30 to 50 cents per pound. The distributor's margin, 20 to 30% markup. The retailer's margin, another 30 to 50% markup. By the time that 50-cent Philippine mangosteen reaches an American supermarket shelf, it needs to sell for $8 to $12 per pound to cover all costs and provide minimal profit to everyone in the chain. And that's if everything goes perfectly. If the fruit arrives damaged, overripe, or fails inspection, someone eats that loss. Usually the small family farmer who already shipped their product and can't afford to wait months for payment that may never come. The volume problem. American supermarket chains operate on economics of scale that tropical fruits can't meet. A typical Walmart supercenter moves 2,000 pounds of bananas per week. That volume justifies the logistics infrastructure, the dedicated supply chain, the relationships with massive plantation operations in Ecuador and Guatemala. But rambutans? Mangosteens? A store might sell 20 pounds per week if they're lucky. That's not enough volume to justify dedicated shipping containers, specialized handling training for staff, or premium shelf space. The major produce distributors, companies like Chiquita, Dolly, and Del Monte, focus on high-volume commodities. They've built their entire business model around products that can be grown industrially, shipped green, and artificially ripened. Smaller specialty importers exist, but they operate on thin margins. One bad shipment, say, a container of lychees that arrives overripe because of customs delays, can wipe out months of profit. The human element. In a rural village in Vietnam, a farmer named Min grows dragon fruit on a 5-acre plot his family has worked for 40 years. He plants the cacti in neat rows, supported by concrete posts. At night, the flowers bloom, huge, fragrant white blossoms that last only until dawn. Min harvests 3 times per week during peak season. Each fruit is cut by hand, inspected for blemishes, and packed in recycled cardboard boxes. He sells to a local cooperative that aggregates fruit from 30 families like his. The cooperative has dreams of exporting to America. They've attended trade shows, met with importers, filled out preliminary paperwork. But the numbers don't work. The USDA-approved facility they'd need to use is 3 hours away. The certification process costs $15,000 annually. The minimum order American importers want is 10,000 pounds per shipment, more than all 30 families can produce in a week during peak season. So Min's dragon fruit goes to Hanoi, to Ho Chi Minh City, to local markets where it sells fresh for $1 per pound, and he sees 60 cents of that. It's not wealth, but it's sustainable. This pattern repeats across the tropical fruit-growing world. The infrastructure that could connect small family farmers to American consumers either doesn't exist or is prohibitively expensive to access. The industrial alternative. Meanwhile, in southern Vietnam, a corporation called Vina TNT operates a different model entirely. They own 5,000 acres of dragon fruit plantations. They built their own USDA-certified packing facility for $8 million. They have contracts with American importers worth millions annually. Their dragon fruit arrives in Los Angeles, still fresh, at a price point that some American retailers can work with, $3 to $4 per pound wholesale. The supermarket sells it for $6 to $7 per pound, and American consumers actually buy it at that price. But Vina TNT's success required massive capital investment and volume that family farmers can never match. This is the paradox. The only tropical fruits that make it to America fresh are either industrially produced commodities like bananas or premium products from large corporations that can absorb the infrastructure costs. The frozen alternative. This is why frozen tropical fruit has become the compromise solution in America. Freezing technology has advanced significantly. IQF, individually quick frozen, processes can freeze fruit within hours of harvest, preserving nutrition and flavor reasonably well. Frozen tropical fruit faces fewer regulatory hurdles because freezing kills many pests and pathogens. A company in Ecuador can buy fresh passion fruit from small farmers for 50 cents per pound, process and freeze it for another $1 per pound, and ship it via ocean freight for 20 cents per pound. The frozen product arrives in America at a total cost of less than $2 per pound, sells for $3 to $4 retail, and everyone makes money. This works economically, but it's not the same experience as fresh fruit. The texture changes, some flavor compounds degrade, and most importantly, Americans don't develop relationships with these fruits the way people do in tropical countries, where fresh fruit is part of daily life. The climate factor. Climate change is quietly making all of this worse. Tropical fruit farming depends on predictable weather patterns. Rambutans need consistent rainfall during specific growing periods. Mangosteens require stable temperatures year-round. In Thailand, increasingly erratic monsoons have disrupted traditional growing cycles. Some years bring too much rain, causing fruit to split on the trees. Other years bring drought during critical flowering periods. Filipino farmers report that typhoons have become more unpredictable, wiping out entire seasons of mangosteen crops. The trees take 10 years to mature and produce fruit again after severe damage. This climate instability makes it even harder for small farmers to commit to export markets. If you can't guarantee consistent supply year after year, American importers won't work with you. They need reliability. What America grows instead. Ironically, parts of the United States have suitable climates for tropical fruits. Southern Florida, Hawaii, and parts of Southern California can grow many tropical species. And some farmers do. In South Florida, small farms produce fresh carambola, lychees, and longans. Hawaii grows excellent rambutans, dragon fruit, and papayas. But these operations are tiny compared to mainland agriculture. A Florida lychee farm might be 10 acres. A Hawaiian rambutan orchard might produce 5,000 pounds per season. These quantities barely register in a country of 330 million people. Plus, labor costs are dramatically higher. A farm worker in Thailand might earn $10 per day. In Florida, minimum wage is $12 per hour. This makes American-grown tropical fruit even more expensive than imports. The knowledge gap. Here's another overlooked factor. Most Americans don't know what they're missing. If you didn't grow up eating fresh mangosteen, you don't know to ask for it. If you've never tasted a ripe rambutan, you're not disappointed by its absence. The American palate has been shaped by what's available, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Supermarkets are reluctant to stock unfamiliar fruits because consumers don't buy them. Consumers don't buy them because they're unfamiliar and expensive. The fruits remain unfamiliar because supermarkets don't stock them. Breaking this cycle requires education, marketing, and patience, all of which costs money that the thin-margin produce industry doesn't have to spare. The system at work. So why is fresh tropical fruit so hard to find in America? It's not one reason. It's a perfect storm of factors. Agricultural biology that makes these fruits difficult to transport. Federal regulations designed to protect American agriculture from invasive pests. Economic mathematics that make small-scale imports unprofitable. Supply chain infrastructure built around high-volume commodities. Climate instability affecting tropical farming regions. And consumer unfamiliarity creating weak demand. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It prioritizes safety, efficiency, and economic viability. But these priorities come with a cost. They've created an invisible wall between American consumers and the incredible diversity of fruit growing in tropical regions around the world. That Thai farmers' rambutans, that Filipino families' mangosteens, that Colombian passion fruit. They're not reaching American tables not because of any single villain or failure, but because of hundreds of small economic and regulatory decisions that, added together, make the journey nearly impossible. And unless something fundamental changes, new preservation technology, reformed import regulations, or a major shift in consumer demand, fresh tropical fruit will remain a rare luxury in America, available mainly to those who live near specialty importers or can afford premium prices. The question isn't really why fresh tropical fruit is hard to find in America. The question is, how did we build a system so efficient at delivering some foods and so prohibitive for others? If this story opened your eyes to something you never knew existed, if you're now looking at that banana in your kitchen a little differently, then hit that subscribe button. We're diving deep into the hidden systems that shape what ends up on your plate, from the bizarre economics of the spice trade to why real wasabi costs $300 per pound. And if you made it this far, you're exactly the kind of curious person we're creating these documentaries for. So smash that like button. It genuinely helps us reach more people who want to understand the real story behind their food. Drop a comment and tell us, have you ever tried any of these exotic tropical fruits? Which one would you most want to taste fresh? Your stories help build this community. New documentary drops every week. Don't miss the next one.